It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Welcome back, everybody, to Party Chat Sports. Just Dylan and I to start off here this evening. We'll see who else makes their way in throughout the night to discuss Week 8 of the NFL season. We're about halfway there already, man. Halloween is this
that
week.
That actually sucks. I can't believe that's true, but it is. We're halfway.
As I said, Week 8, as I was rolling off my tongue, I'm like, ah, crap. We are halfway through. Like, Thursday night is going to hit, and that's like the halfway mark, I'd say, of the NFL season, October 31st right here. But let's talk about what happened in Week 8. Let's not get too far ahead of our skis. There's a lot of games, a lot of things that do need to be discussed. And unfortunately, the first game of the week, he's not here to talk about it. Like, we can, but that means we can talk as much crap as possible because he's not here to defend himself as the Vikings fall in Thursday Night Football 30-20 to the LA Rams. And
yeah,
now the Vikings, after starting 5-0, 2-game losing streak.
Yeah. First off, Cam, classic ghost performance tonight. But nonetheless, talking about his Vikings, I know he's very sad about the Darisaw news.
Yes.
I know that's a big thing for him.
I get it.
Yeah, the Rams, I get it too. That's a left tackle that you're losing. But the Rams, first time their offense was healthy all year, and it looked the part. They put up 30 on Flores' head, who Cam has touted as the greatest of all time. And, they look good. Puka Nacua came back immediately, and people didn't even think he was going to play, and then he got like a bunch of targets, like off the rip.
I left him on IR this week in one of our fantasy leagues.
Yeah, no, I immediately put him in my lineup. He was a core part of my dynasty league that a trade that I made earlier in the year, and he immediately performed. Couldn't be more happy about it. Just for the statisticals out there, he had 7 catches, 106 yards. No touchdowns, but that's okay. He put up a heck of a performance. And it just goes to show that Rams offense, when it's clicking and when it's healthy, is a very good offense. Now, I know a lot of people were talking that they were going to implode the offense by trading away Cooper Kupp. I don't buy that. I just think, why would you? You just beat the 5-2 Vikings. You're 3-4 now. You're not that far out.
I think a lot of season to go.
I
think a lot of that was going to be dependent on how this game went. Like, if the Rams lost this game and they started off 2-5, you're heading into the trade deadline, it's like, all right, maybe it's time to start getting some picks back for Kupp. But because they won, they're 3-4, they're right there in the division race. You're coming off, you have a mini bye with the Thursday Night Football game. You're in a good spot. So I think had the Rams lost, those conversations would definitely pick up steam. But since the Rams won, those Kupp conversations have kind of faded away. I think it's a large part because of that. It was depending on if they won or lost. Not to cut you off, but I think
I think that's a good point. But you gotta. If I'm the Rams GM, I'm keeping him right now. I'm just looking at the standings. You're one game out of a wild card spot. Obviously, you want to shoot for more than that, but right now, the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Cardinals are your other divisional mates. They're all 4-4. You're 3-4. So, you're right in the thick of things. So keep it together, even though, a lot of the Cooper Kupp to Steelers talk was prevalent. I don't think that's realistic either. I'm just going to shut that down right now. But nonetheless, good for the Rams. Had a good game. And, the Vikings are inevitable, repeating the last time a 5-0 team miss the playoffs. That would be your probably going to get the year wrong, but it was like the 2019 Vikings or something.
Something like that. Cam will correct us.
Cam would know if he was here. He'd be able to let us know.
But
they're repeating that performance.
Was the quarterback or?
I think it was. It was when Bradford got hurt that year, whatever year that was. I think. But yeah, and then they go short week against the Colts, and the Colts who are going to play Joe Flacco all game. Yeah, it could have been. But yeah, got the Colts on a short week here against Joe Flacco, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
for the Vikings.
I think on the Rams side, it's really nice when this offense is clicking because not only was the passing game effective, Kyron Williams was going on the ground, averaging 4.2 yards a carry. That's what you want. They gave him the ball 23 times. It'd be nice if Blake Corum could do a little something for them. Imagine that, a Michigan bum in the pros. But everybody else, I mean...
Zero juice. When you're running back with no juice, you can't do nothing.
That's what happens when you are getting as many miles put on you in college as he did. Like, he just got a lot of tread on the tires. But it's very fun.
Yes, he does.
When they're clicking like this, because it's good to see Matthew Stafford throwing it around. Like, that's the other thing, too, with Stafford is I think this might be his last year. The way that he's been hurt. But if they finish strong, if this offense continues to click, maybe we do get Stafford for another year. And he's just one of those guys that I enjoy watching. I think you share very similar feelings on that. He's just a fun guy to watch. And when he does decide to hang it up, it's going to suck because it's one of those guys that you just love watching.
You're losing again one of those last of an era, right? I mean, we just gone through a big quarterback exit with Brady and Breeze and Big Ben, and he was later to that era, but he's the last one of those guys. Him and Flacco and Rodgers and Wilson are probably like the last four, and I could be forgetting somebody, but that feels like the last four from the older era. Everyone else is kind of on the younger side.
Even Dak. Dak is kind of in the middle, I'd say.
Yeah, he was in that transitional period where we had lost some quarterbacks like Andrew Luck and RG3, and he was in that kind of era, which kind of then shifted into Mahomes and then Josh Allen and Lamar. So he's like the old head of the new generation, but yeah, it'll suck. He's under contract for one more year in 2025, and then I guess he's also got a 2026 contract year as well. But there's a potential out after that year, I guess. And in 2025, there's a lot of cap stuff going on with that, but we'll see.
I think on the Vikings side of things, this was bound to happen. You were going to lose games. You weren't going to win every game. It just doesn't happen. So these losses, you'll probably see a couple more losses from the Vikings. I don't think Sam Darnold seemed to play terrible. There was that safety, that phantom face mask that everybody was talking about. And yes, it was a bad no call, but I don't think that changed the game. Because you still had to go 98 yards to score. And even if you get that penalty, you're getting the ball at the 17. So you still have 80-plus yards to go.
Yeah, it probably doesn't change the outcome. It is unfortunate, but
other thing, they need more pass catchers.
Cam said he's coming soon, so I want to leave him some time to rant about the Vikings, but
yep, we'll come back to this. Last thing on that though, they need guys they need other pass catchers.
Who, the Vikings?
Yeah. They had Justin Jefferson catch 8 passes, but everybody else, nobody caught 2.
That's gonna be Hawk. It's gonna be Hawk.
That's true. He does come back.
That's your pass catcher, and then Addison struggling a little bit maybe as wide receiver 2 this year. Maybe because Hawk isn't there to take away some of the pressure over the middle of the field, but we'll see.
It's a good point.
We'll see.
All right, we'll save some more. We'll revisit the Vikings conversation when Cam does decide to join us. So let's move on to Sunday. This was probably one of the better games, just more competitive games of the week, and that was the Packers and the Jaguars. Packers edging out the Jaguars 30-27. And Jordan Love every week just continues to look more and more like Brett Favre. his risky decisions, dude can make plays. There are some passes that he slings it in there. It's like, wow, how would you do that? But Brett Favre, I'm pretty sure he's got the record for most interceptions in an NFL career. Granted, that's because he was playing for 20 years. But he threw a ton of picks. And Jordan Love is getting, even though he studied under Rodgers, who, while in Green Bay, wasn't a turnover machine. That was just rare for him to turn the ball over. He's starting to have that turnover ability, I think. And I don't know.
That's a lot of interceptions for Brett Favre. I just looked that up.
It's crazy.
That's a lot.
Isn't it like 400 something?
It's 366, which is, like 70 more than second place. So his interception percentage is only about 3.3%. So part of it is because he played for a very long time. But
how many years did he play? 366. Let's do some simple math here.
He played in 326 career games.
Divided by 326. So he's averaging a little over one pick a game.
He was that pro. He was the first.
Gunslinger.
He wasn't the first, but he was a gunslinger. Yeah.
So you'll have that. The Jaguars look promising on offense. Trevor Lawrence finding Brian Thomas Jr., who's been really picking it up these last couple of weeks. I think he should be in that conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Maybe even
not if he misses 4 weeks.
That's a good point.
Unfortunate for Jags fans.
But this was a fun offensive game. Even though Jordan Love wasn't the most accurate, Josh Jacobs was still getting it done on the ground. That was a very underrated signing, I think. That's one that I don't think gets talked about a lot, but has yielded a lot of positive results for the Packers. Moving off of Aaron Jones and bringing in Josh Jacobs, he's had a productive year for Green Bay. I mean, you figure...
Yeah, and it's kind of worked out, too, because now Aaron Jones is thriving a little bit on his own.
Yeah.
But, hello, Drew. Welcome.
Mr. Nelson.
What's up?
You got anything to say about Packers-Jaguars?
Jordan Love screwed me over by getting hurt. So
that's the other thing, too, is Love got hurt.
What's wrong with him? Jordan Love, assistant quarterback? Question mark?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe.
Probably.
To be fair, isn't just about every quarterback a system quarterback, though?
No.
I feel like
Matt
a lot of quarterbacks
LaFleur is the GOAT. He carried Aaron Rodgers to 2 NFC championships.
Jordan Love's
appearances.
MRI comes back.
Yes.
Something with his leg for Love.
It was his knee, I think.
Strained
But
groin and nothing major.
Trevor Lawrence, man, can't win. Trevor Lawrence can't win.
He didn't seem fraudulent in this game, though. He did throw a pick, but
but nobody didn't win.
Yeah.
So
His name is Trev Mid.
Trev Mid. How many more games?
all I know is Malik Willis, kind of nice. He didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Jordan Love,
he wasn't
quarterback.
He wasn't nice in Tennessee, but not many quarterbacks are. So he was nice here.
How many more games can the Jaguars lose before they let go of Doug Peterson? They're 2-6.
0.
Dude, is he a mid-season?
Low key, maybe all of them, and then they'll fire him after the year.
He's already fired.
What's the rush? If you fire him now, you're not going anywhere if you're the Jaguars. So what? That's another thing I could rant on is what's the point of an interim head coach? Like, why fire a guy in the middle of the year?
Depends on the locker room.
You're not doing anything. It depends on some things. But if that coach isn't a cancer like Urban Meyer was to Jacksonville, the interim's not going to be hired at the end of the year. I mean, look at Steve Wilkes when he took over for the Panthers, and then the Panthers were good. They didn't hire him.
No.
You could argue they should have, but I don't know. It just feels like a waste of time on everybody's part.
That's fair. All right. I think we can move on.
Anyway.
Cardinals get the clutch game-winning field goal over the Dolphins, 28-27, in Tua's return. He learned how to slide.
Chad Ryland, 3 game-winning kicks in his Cardinals career, and I think like 3 games.
Guy?
It is the Eastern guy.
Yep.
Shout out to Chad. Shout out to Chad. He's a dog.
Tell him to subscribe to the channel.
I may have to. Yeah, thank you NFC for continuing to dominate the lower part of the AFC. It's gonna make the end of my year much better.
What did they say out there in Arizona after this game?
Now they're talking about winning the division.
Kyler's the man again.
Which surprisingly is not impossible. They are in first place.
We did just talk about the NFC West in regards to the Rams with how open it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Cardinals are in first place, and their schedule isn't exactly hard, other than having to play the Seahawks twice and the 49ers and the Rams one more time each.
That could be hard.
Other than that, it's not too hard.
That's what she said.
Gil, as we talked about last time, we went through a bunch of games that they could win, and it's a whole lot of them. So, and we talked about them having to come away with one of Chargers, Dolphins, and whoever they have next, and they've come away with two of them so far. So, Bears.
And they play
next.
the Jets. They play the Jets. They play the Patriots.
The next couple
the
are
Panthers.
Yep.
That's a lot of dubs. Probably.
There's not a lot of hard games left. So yeah, they're talking about winning the division because it is possible. As like laughable as that sounds, it is very possible.
So they're back on the Kyler
We're talking
train?
about Marv coming back because they were very worried about Marv. They were very worried, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah, he was struggling for sure.
He was considered like the most NFL ready prospect in a long time. Like no worries, no one was worried about him coming to the league and having an immediate impact. And then he showed up, and he was struggling for a little bit, and still has.
I think we've
whether
just
it's all
become,
his fault, whether it's not, but
I think we've just become so blind to rookie wide receivers doing well. Like that, historically, I don't think was always the case. You'd have your rookie wide receivers that do well, but like if you go like pre-2010, and that could have been because of the lack of passing offense in the NFL probably, and in college for that matter. The rookie wide receivers were all right. I mean, you had like a Larry Fitzgerald and an Anquan Bolden that did well, but then all of a sudden, you go Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and multiple guys from draft classes as well. It's not just one having huge success as a rookie. The 2020 class of it was like CeeDee Lamb, Claypool, and Justin Jefferson. Like three rookies all had great years. Obviously, Claypool sucks. I get that, but he had a really good rookie season. So yeah, it's okay if a wide receiver struggles for a second. He's a rookie still. I think we just forget that.
Any job, like you come out of college, you get hired somewhere. Most of the time, you are not an expert at your job that first year. It usually takes a little bit of time to get your feet wet and learn what that organization wants from you and how they go about certain things. Like at most jobs in real life, you're not succeeding right out the gate. I mean, yes, there's exceptions. And those exceptions are people like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
And he's got no help either. Like he's learning on the job with no mentor or nobody to tell him what to do. Because like at least like neighbors, they had like Darius Slayton, who's not out of this world, but he's a veteran wide receiver who's been around. I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head at the moment, but nonetheless, he's like in game to game with the Cardinals. That was a poor example. I'm sorry. I want to retract that a little bit. Like who's drawing coverage opposite of him? And this is what we talked about.
Trey McBride.
That's it. The tight end.
Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson.
Trey
George.
McBride is having a hell of a year, by the way.
They got a bunch of wide receiver sixes over
there.
there.
I think everything you guys have said so far is true and accurate, but also he was drafted number 4 overall.
Yeah, also true.
This is true.
And wide receivers lately have shown that you can expect them to make an impact because we've seen it so often. Obviously, there are picks that miss or take a while, but most of the time, the wide receivers are the best in the class normally translate when they get to NFL, and they're still one of the best wide receivers in the league.
I remember
as soon as they enter.
I'm not saying Garrett Wilson is one of the best wide receivers in the league, but his rookie year, he started off slow. And he's worth
where he was drafted.
Yeah, he was 10th.
He's good.
So, and it took him a minute to get there. It just happens. Like some people, that speed of the game, it takes them a minute for it to slow down for them. Everybody develops at their own pace, and expecting everybody to develop at the same pace because of what previous guys have done is just a lot to ask of somebody that may not be ready for that yet. And I think one thing too, there's a lot of expectation because of his name. His name in general, it puts a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and there's high expectations. Like if his name was Caleb Gill instead of Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe he's not drafted 4th overall. Maybe he doesn't have as high of an expectation, but because his dad is a Hall of Famer and he did ball out at Ohio State, like there is higher expectation, and it can take a minute to live up to that.
Either way, it was still disappointing when he wasn't living up to the hype.
And he still got time. I mean,
any of us would be disappointed to see him. I mean, it's not like he was like just putting up mediocre stats.
He was putting up nothing.
Yeah.
Most of his games are bad.
Yeah.
And like his catch percentage is bad. Like it's not like it was just like, okay, like he's not quite taking the next, like he's not elite right away. Like it was borderline like, is he actually terrible? Like it just, and there's probably a whole bunch of different reasons for that being the case, but still like it was worrisome enough to be like disappointed that you may not have gotten the guy that you thought you were getting.
Especially,
and obviously it can take time, but like, again, he was like, out of receivers who we've seen come through the draft, he was like the best, most ready, best prospect that we've seen, and that's why it's
generational.
It's disappointing.
Yeah. It doesn't help that in his same class, Malik Neighbors is having a good year so far, despite having a terrible quarterback. Brian Thomas Jr. is having a good season so far, so that doesn't help either. But again, everybody develops at their own pace, and the best organization.
The Cardinals fans are happy about his most recent performance.
Yep. He took a step in the right direction. So
speaking of step in the right direction, Tua learned how to slide. So congrats, Tua. Then again,
they took a step in the wrong direction by losing.
They did lose still.
Hey,
now their season's
over
over
for me.
Dolphins are going to dolphin still. Speaking
of season's over, the Jets lost to the Patriots, 25-22. Drew, you and I talking a couple weeks ago about, I had said the Jets needed to win a couple of these next games, and if they got to this point, 2-5, 2-6, or whatever it is, it's a struggle, it's a loss, and the disappointing thing is that they just continue to find ways to lose. You start off, and a lot of the issues that they had with Saleh are still persistent, and there's people out there, it's like, oh, you shouldn't have fired Saleh, but it's his guys, ultimately. Like, you fired the head guy, cool, but it's still his staff that's here. That's still Saleh's guys out there. I feel bad for Jeff Ulbrich, because this was his shot to be a head coach, and he is being spread out way too thin. It wasn't something he was prepared for, ready for. Like, usually you have an entire offseason to figure out how you're going to manage games and manage all the time between, all right, if you're going to call plays and also be the head. Like, he's learning on the fly. So for him, I hope he takes a Dan Campbell route, like similar to Dan Campbell when he became the interim in Miami, where, Dan Campbell struggled a little bit. He ended up in New Orleans as the assistant head coach. He stayed there for a little bit before getting his shot at Detroit. Jeff Ulbrich is I love listening to him speak. He sounds like a great motivator. Kind of reminds me, not quite as aggressive as Campbell, but I do hope he's able to follow a similar path, in that as much as this year is going to have an impact on his overall record, I hope that teams in the future don't look too poorly at that. The one thing that was very disgusting was 3 timeouts being called in the first quarter. You can't have that. There seems to be a miscommunication, or
I think there was a lot of things that were disgusting. Yes. Not to cut you off, but that was one thing. But
and this was an issue. This has been an issue for weeks. It's not a new thing where they are not snapping the ball until there's 0 seconds or 1 second left on the play clock. It's happening over and over and over again. There's no momentum. There's no rhythm or rhyme or reason with the offense, so the flow isn't there. The creativity is better under Todd Downing, but still not great. It's not saying much. One thing that irritates me is that it's the Patriots and you still lost. Jacoby Brissett came in and you lost. Players out there, like Sauce is having a down year, which, I mean, for his standards, a down year for him is still a good year for other corners, but he's getting cooked a little bit out there. So that's disappointing. I think if Drake May finishes his game and doesn't get hurt, the Jets lose by double digits. Which shouldn't be a real sentence, but it is.
The one stat that was just funny.
250?
The 250.
Yep.
You didn't give up 250 yards or something. You didn't turn the ball over. You scored 20 points and you lost. First time ever. Teams were like 756-0, and the Jets lost. I mean,
the Jets scored.
At this point, the Jets just need to not be talked about in the media.
Absolutely.
Just push them off to the side. We'll talk about them in the offseason because they got a lot of stuff to change. And someone had said that, I forget who it was again, but maybe it was Nick Wright or something. He's like, you know what? They got one more primetime game on Thursday night, and we're never going to have to talk about the Jets ever again. I mean, he was talking about how that's going to get flexed.
It better. It needs to.
Their future games. But, yeah, this was quite literally embarrassing. And people on TikTok are like, oh, if the Jets, if they win 7 in their last 9, they can have 9 and 7. I mean, you can't be talking like that about a team that's 2-6.
Exactly.
You can't.
Exactly.
You can't talk about winning 7 games in a row if you're 2-6. And so you're a bad team.
Was looking at the Jets schedule, I think with you, Drew, a couple weeks ago. I'm like, all right, the Cardinals are up, the Colts, Seahawks. Like, these are winnable games for the Jets. On the flip side, those teams are also looking at the Jets as a winnable game. Rodgers isn't Rodgers anymore. He's not. He's not moving around. He's not trusting what he's seeing down the field, so he's making mistakes. He's not pushing the ball downfield like he used to, and you're going to get that with a injured 40-plus-year-old quarterback. Tyron Smith is cooked. He's done. That's
Can't
brutal.
believe you ruined him.
He'd be better on the Cowboys.
Maybe. He might. I think it's time to start the rookie. The pass rush.
Get him in the game, man.
The pass rush just wasn't there. It's so that statistic. They scored 20-plus, committed 0 turnovers, held their opponent to under 250 yards of offense. From 1940 until this week, teams were 756-0 when they hit those 3 metrics. The Jets lost. And the crazy thing is, it seems like
grand slam for the lead. Sorry,
that's huge.
That is huge.
It is.
As much as the bottom seems to be falling out, like everything that could go wrong is going wrong. If the Jets had a competent kicker out there, they're probably 5-3 or 4-4 right now, which scares me. I think I would rather the bottom be falling out, though, because then you're looking at 4-4, 5-3 with that false hope. And then you're making it to the playoffs and you're getting bounced. And then it's like, oh, well, we made it to the playoffs. At this point, I just want the bottom to fall out. And
I think making the playoffs would be a step in the right direction for the team.
Would be.
Even though it would postpone the Super Bowl more than likely, I mean, you just need to do something.
I think it's one of those 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Because you'd get bounced in the playoffs and then you would just set the franchise back even further. Ultimately,
sometimes you need to take at least a step forward.
Yeah. Ultimately, the Jets
Still
have
standing
tried
at the starting line.
The Jets have tried everything in this playoff drought. They've drafted 3 quarterbacks. Geno Smith was a second rounder. They drafted 2 with top 3 picks. They went the free agent route. That transition guy with like Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh McCown. They made the trade for a Hall of Fame quarterback. They've hit or tried everything. They've all failed. So it's just like, what do you do from here? That's the thing that makes us so sick for Jets fans. Is like in the past, it's like, oh well, if we get a higher pick, we can build around. We can try drafting a quarterback, build around this. Like there is just nobody has faith in this franchise to do the right thing for the first time in a long time. And what's gross negligence on the Jets' part is the fact that they raised season ticket prices by 20% for 2025, despite all this, and the first payment
Inflation.
And the first payment for those season tickets in 2025 is due in the middle of November for the Jets season ticket holders. So, as a, more of a, hey, we don't care, please continue buying season tickets. I've seen a bunch of Jets fans that have said, you know what, I'm done buying season tickets until they win, because they still will have the longest playoff drought in Major League sports. You look at the schedule, they play the Texans this week, Thursday Night Football, and they are a 1-point favorite. And it's one of those games where it's like, all hope's lost. The Jets could win because everybody's doubting them. I've seen them do this before, where they start winning games after the season's over. So that's one. I just don't think they will. I'm not going to bet on the Jets to win. They should be blown out. Even though the Texans are missing guys, Tank Dell is still better than anybody the Patriots have. You have the Cardinals, who will be fighting for a division spot. You have the Colts, who will probably have Joe Flacco. The Seahawks, the Dolphins, these are winnable games, but which part of me very much expects the Jets to go on a run, win a couple of these games, lose to the Dolphins week 18, and it's like, oh, well, we barely missed the playoffs, but we had a big run. We had momentum. Everybody should come back. Just change the general manager, get new head coach, new quarterback, just start it all from scratch. And I understand, why would you want to come to the Jets? I think the biggest selling point that you can make for anybody that's looking for a general manager, head coach job, and why you should come to New York is that A, it's 1 of 32, and B, despite this idea that the Jets cut people too soon, they don't let go of people soon enough. If Joe Douglas is the general manager by title through the remainder of the season, he's going to get 100 games as general manager and will probably have about a 30% win or 30 win percentage. Robert Saleh got a year or so longer than he should have. Todd Bowles got about a year or so, a year or so more than he should have. The previous general manager, Mike McCagnon, got probably about a year or two longer. That's the pitch I would make. Because the pitch of, well, if you win in New York, you'll be a legend, clearly isn't working.
What's it like being able to fire a GM?
I thought it was nice.
Must be nice.
I thought it was, but it hasn't yielded positive results, man. I just don't know what to expect, what to do, where the Jets can go from here, which is just, it's hell. It is hell. So, I've written a lovely poem. Holy shit. I didn't realize Yankees up 5-2. That's crazy. So I wrote a beautiful poem about this New York Jets team and just the New York Jets in general. I hate the way you've built this team and the way you wear your sleeves. I hate the way you look on offense. I hate it when you stall. I hate your big dumb stadium and the way you give us hope. I hate you so much it makes me sick. It even makes me mope. I hate the way you're never right. I hate it when you don't care. I hate it when you make me cheer. Even worse, when you make me tear. I hate it when you're not in the playoffs and the fact it's going on 14 years. But I mostly hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all. That is 10 things I hate about the Jets. It is.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I definitely came up with that, no influence.
Inspiration.
No,
just right off.
Yep, right off
yeah,
the dome.
right off
The dome here is where I came up with that. Man, I don't know. I don't. This is the worst part, is that there isn't an end in sight. It's just more darkness, more emptiness. And I had low expectations for the Jets heading into this year. But holy shit, 2-6 is...
Brother, I know you're not still talking about the Jets.
Oh, you missed my poem. Here.
Dude,
It was beautiful.
I already said we don't got to listen about the Jets in media. And we've talked about them for 10 minutes. Yeah. We're moving on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's fine.
I'll go back and listen to the poem.
It's a beautiful poem. I highly recommend it.
Hey, Cam.
What's up, brother?
You know what we need out of you, Gil?
Yo.
We need an off-season series. This is the last thing I'm going to say about the Jets for the next month. We need an off-season series of you. Just what would you do to fix the Jets? I don't want to hear the rant. I want to just hear positivity.
Positivity?
What would you do to fix the Jets? What would you do to fix the Jets?
You want positivity out of me?
Step by step. Who are you hiring? Who are you releasing? Who are you signing in free agency? Who are you drafting? What's the roster look like? I want your 5-year plan.
You want positivity?
I want something. But yeah.
Caleb Gill, the GM. What the fuck was that?
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's happy. You're not getting positive.
Oh no. He may never come back.
Whoops.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, whatever that was is gone. That's broken.
That poor fan.
All right. We'll see that on TikTok tomorrow.
Yeah, between that and
What's the next game?
Close your mouth. What are you chewing?
I'm sorry.
Next game we've got is Ravens-Browns, and the Browns made a change at quarterback, and it yielded really great results.
Crazy what happens when you bench the second worst quarterback in the league, because I think Anthony Richardson took over that spot.
Even though Kyle Hamilton definitely sold.
Hamilton. Yeah, he did.
He did.
Ravens just didn't want it bad enough. Guess that's what it is.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it's typical AFC North football, but the one thing that the Ravens, I would say, is their weakness this year, and it's not even that weak to be honest, but their defense has just not been that good this year, all year, and it's kind of odd. It's not the normal Ravens teams that we're used to. Always having a great defense. That great defense really. It's kind of gone. Their pass rush is okay. Their corners are okay. They still got Roquan in the middle. Kyle Hamilton's a good safety, even if he dropped the game winner that Minka would never do. They've turned themselves into an offensive team, and obviously Lamar's at the head of the best offense in the league. So we'll see. And they went out and acquired Deontay Johnson today, which is just weird. It's just weird.
I just don't know where he fits because they have guys.
They have a type. They have a type at wide receiver. They have a type.
Like, they've got a bunch of guys in there that are just average. Like,
I mean, Deontay Johnson and Zay Flowers are almost like the same kind of wide receiver.
Like, in Madden, that's a very nice room. I just don't think, in reality, I mean, maybe it does.
I mean, it's been working. And maybe they don't have to throw to their third tight end anymore.
True.
We'll see. Hey, Cam, you back?
Hello, buddy. Oh,
Back.
hello.
What's up, man?
What's up?
You missed me, Rach?
You just missed
doing?
Gil ranted on the Jets for like 15 minutes.
And then I punched the
They
fan.
suck, so it's all right.
Got him.
Yeah.
You got anything to say about the Vikings, Cam?
Yeah, let's jump into that.
Trap game. That's all it is.
Trap game.
What was last week?
Last week we had to stop. I'm taking 30 points as a massive W against the best offense in the NFL.
But you score points against the defense,
See,
not the offense.
I would take a dub on that if the best offense didn't score. 30 plus.
I'll take San Fran to beat them as a 6 seed.
Okay.
But what happens when the Vikings are like?
What's that got to do with the Vikings, man? We're talking about the Vikings, not the Lions.
No, we're taking. Oh, wait a minute.
The Vikings are currently the 6th seed, and the Lions are going to have a first round bye anyway. So,
You got anything?
I told you I had nothing to say on the game.
why? Hold on. My last question, and then we can keep on moving on. Why is Cam Robinson the end of the season?
I did one of it.
Rip season.
Because we did not get Jedrick Willis.
Oh, yeah, that probably wasn't going to happen.
That's it. That's all I got.
Damn, nothing.
All right. No, we'll move on. All
right. Do you have any?
Where does that leave us?
We're still in the Ravens Browns. Ravens just need guys that can catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like Lamar had almost 300
did
yards.
Not get one.
And they didn't get one.
Let's
Yeah.
Let's stay in the AFC North. Heading out to Cincinnati, they lost to the Eagles 37-17. And we were talking with Cam and I were talking with one of the assistant coaches who's a Bengals fan, and the game
Fire Zach Taylor
really changed when they went for it on 4th and 1 and didn't get it because they threw a screen pass. Why you
screen behind the sticks?
Why are you throwing anything behind the sticks? The only time you
got $50 million Joe Burrow under center, and you throw a screen behind the sticks to I believe it was Chase Brown.
Like the amount of screens that get called in any level is gross. Like Drew, I know you absolutely hate this. It's gotta you gotta bleach your eyes with the amount of screens. I'm sure that you see it.
Why switch teams?
But
yeah, honestly,
Look at the hatred. Hey, we approve switching college teams.
We do not.
Yeah, we do.
I don't care.
You're a bitch. Absolute bitch.
Gil's not even an Ohio State fan. He's a Toledo fan. So if we're making rules, you can only root for one, and he's got Toledo on the wall, not Ohio State on the wall.
I don't have Ohio State on the wall. That's crazy. I used to.
This is the rule.
Why are you throwing short of the sticks on 3rd and 4th down?
Zach Taylor is incompetent.
But how often do you see that where it's 3rd down or 4th down, and you're throwing short of the sticks, and it's like, well, I'm just getting it in my playmaker's hands, hoping they make a play.
It's the same reason they lost to the Ravens. It's the same reason they lost to the Ravens. Zach Taylor is a terrible coach.
Yep.
His coaching tree is terrible.
He was a fraud when he got the job. Joe Burrow
and then
saved him.
Yeah. Yep. Joe Burrow's kept him where he is today.
People wanted him gone even after they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he sucked. But anyways, what I'm saying is, in that Ravens game, they get the turnover on Lamar, they fumble, halfback dive 3 plays in a row, and they go for the 55-yard field goal. Instead of, up until that point, Joe had 300-something yards passing. He was dicing up the Ravens defense that we just talked about is weak. Halfback dive 3 times in a row, kicked the field goal. No longer Money McPherson misses it, who's been struggling this year from deep. And then, same thing. 4th and 1 in your own on your own side of the field, screen behind the sticks, it gets blown up, and then the Eagles just run away with it, and you lose all your momentum. He's not.
Eagles were cheesing.
Eagles were cheesing. They were XP farming.
Cheesing the tush push.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Crazy work.
Still can't believe that.
The Eagles don't even really make me that angry anymore.
You got other problems to worry about.
Yeah. Sad.
Speaking of problems, the Colts decided to bench their first-round draft pick from 2 years ago in Anthony Richardson, in large part because of his antics during this loss to the Texans. They lost 23-20, the Colts did. And him coming out and saying, I was tired, so I pulled myself out of the game, it very much reminded me of when Zach Wilson, after the Patriots game, his second year, they lost. It was 10-3 or something like that. And he said he didn't think he let the defense down. His post-game remarks are the reason he was benched that second. His play didn't help. But when you draft a quarterback that is a project, a developmental guy like Anthony Richardson, like Zach Wilson, you let them play it out, typically, until they make errors like that.
Or you let them sit a year.
Let
them sit a year.
Once you get them in there, it hurts them to pull them out. Pulling out is bad for those situations.
Yo.
Okay.
All
right.
But you shouldn't have to put them in the first place.
I mean, he's a raw guy. He's a raw player, so you don't want to pull him out because he's raw.
You got to be careful leaving it in raw.
Why is he raw?
But sometimes the raw players are better to put in. But I guess
Can we stop?
Anyway,
can we just not?
I mean, I think
it's better that he got pulled.
Yeah,
I'm
it should have just never happened.
upset Flacco starting next week. I'm not gonna lie.
You should be. I mean, that's
yeah,
the reason
I'm terrified, dude.
That's the reason
Another
the Steelers
track
lost,
game.
man. The Steelers lost because Joe Flacco went into the game.
He really
they
have-
beat Richardson by double digits.
Hold on. Pause. Everybody pause. Right now, I am having PTSD because if anybody did not know, back in junior year, Gil and I talked a lot. Gil and I did not like each other, and we talked some shit on Twitter. And our defensive coordinator at the time said, "We need to knock it off."
Junior year of
OC.
High school.
Yes.
Did you just call it Phillips, the defensive
your last high school football year.
It's a long.
Anyways, we got called out because I decided to tell Gil to shut the fuck up.
Whoa, language!
And
it's a family-friendly program.
We are 5-0 right now. Don't care. And he said I got knocked out in the JV game. I'm being humble. I'm going to be humble about it.
Oh man,
not a good experience, by the way. Not a good experience.
Before that game, I remember watching you walk across the parking lot towards the stadium.
I have a question.
And then that happened.
I have a question. What's that have to do with Joe Flacco?
Let's not dive deep.
What's that have to do with Joe Flacco?
Dude, you got an ADD brain right now. I don't know what you want. I did say I had
you
PTSD.
do, actually. I'm confused with that story.
We're talking about Joe Flacco and how you're scared of him, and he said it gave you PTSD.
I had PTSD.
How?
From getting knocked out?
Was it the argument?
I'm just trying to see where the correlation is.
Football.
Is it because Gil's loud?
Football.
Yeah, correlation. Football.
Just explain the correlation.
Football.
That concussion, that JV concussion, is still having long-lasting effects.
Bro, that put Cam on the course today. That he's on.
I died for about 10 seconds.
CTE in a JV game.
I died for about 10 seconds. I got knocked out.
Bro sacrificed his life, his well-being for a JV game.
I caught a comeback, bro. That's all I did.
Hey, attaboy. Way to put your body on the line, Cam. Way to put your body on the line. You know what? You know what that showed? More heart than Anthony Richardson.
Hey,
That's how it correlates.
Yes. There you go.
Give me the Texans first down animation right there, because that's what it was. And then I died.
I don't know what that means. Texans.
Hold on.
I think it's good that Anthony Richardson got benched. Hey, it's Cameron.
Oh yeah. A lot of players been doing that this week. I feel like Malik was doing that, Neighbors, and then Pickens would do it, and then Van Jefferson did it.
Wait,
we were getting wild.
Camera works?
Nah.
Not for if you want me to be here for 5 minutes. Yes.
Only for celebration purposes.
I'm down to 29 at the moment.
That's crazy that you don't own a phone charger.
I do, but I have wired headphones, so I can be.
So, anyways, the Colts, right? The Colts.
I don't know that a quarterback's ever pulled himself out of the game and not been severely injured.
Yeah.
You're the court.
Yeah, no.
He wears a C on his chest.
Cam, you said move him to tight end, but I don't think you can because then he'd pull himself after every play. He'd be too tired.
That is true. That is very true.
So, Texans great buy again though. They're again probably one of the most overrated teams of the year, which is weird.
Are they going to be like the Eagles? What was that, last year, 2 years ago, where they just win a bunch of these games against teams that have not great records, make it to the playoffs, and get bounced?
Maybe.
They could.
Maybe.
On a similar path.
I mean, it's following a similar trajectory right now where they're 6-2, but they don't look like a 6-2 team.
Hey, Gildy, you play the Texans, right?
Yeah. Come on.
Well, guess who the Eagles lost to that year?
The Texans.
Jets.
The Jets.
Yep. The Jets.
Your line of questioning didn't set that up.
I got it.
But
I
got
understood.
it.
The Jets broke the Eagles.
Jets playing the Texans. Texans are the Eagles. Eagles are the Texans. Jets beat the Eagles.
Yeah, but the Eagles were
Jets will beat
undefeated.
the
It's like
Texans.
that whole correlation of Kennesaw State is the national champion every year. You guys see
Hey,
that?
they're 8-2 in our second dynasty, or second season dynasty.
They're 1-6 in real life.
That's all right, but next year 7-2.
Yeah, so the Colts are bad. Texans are also not doing very well.
Speaking of one-win teams,
Texans are currently the 2 seed.
speaking of
That's
one-win teams, the Titans thought they were going to go neck to neck with the Lions. They tied it up at 14 apiece, and
Hey, Money Mason for like 2 seconds, and then the Lions remembered who they were and who they were
He looked
playing.
like less exciting Will Levis.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yep.
He was doing
He's-
crazy stuff out there for no reason.
He's
He thought
less
he was Will
exciting
Levis.
everybody. He's less exciting everybody.
He was being dangerous with the ball, but not being as cool as Will Levis when he's dangerous with the ball.
He is the least. He's probably the most least exciting quarterback in the league,
I can see it.
and that's about as much as I.
Lions scored
inclined to
50
talk
points
about
and had
him.
like 80 passing yards.
85.
Yeah, that was crazy.
85
That was crazy.
to be exact, and 3 tutties.
85.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
Jared Goff with quite the stat line.
Like, you look, it's like, oh, you
Jared
went 12
Goff.
for 15, 85 yards. Wow, they must have really sucked. Oh,
Whatever.
They put up 52 points.
I don't care.
Not a single point in the fourth
It's all right.
quarter either.
Special teams been crazy.
Feels like you care. Also, Jahmyr Gibbs is nuts.
He's pretty
He's
fast.
He's a fast man. He's got juice. He's got so much juice. I love Gibbs's juice.
Do you?
I do.
What does it? What's it taste like?
Shaq meme.
Anyway,
Is Gibbs a
you
raw
took a
player?
turn there that wasn't needed.
Is Gibbs a raw
is
player?
not a raw player. He's
He's
not.
not a raw player.
Not anymore.
He's
He
a
was.
fully developed player.
He was last year.
Gibbs fully developed and loving the juice.
Keep going. What's the next
Got
game?
some in the juice.
Falcons Bucks maybe.
Sure.
Wait a minute. We got to talk about J-Ball being written off by the cops.
We don't.
That would be pretty
Good.
suspect, though, if the police let him off
Yeah.
because he's a Lions player.
I mean, I'm
I
sure
also-
Detroit
it
P-
happens. I'm
Happens
sure that
often.
thing happens.
I'm sure,
often.
yeah.
I'm sure it does. But I also brought up this question: why is it illegal to have a weapon that you own in your vehicle?
Because
Because
state
it
of
wasn't
Michigan.
certified.
If you own it,
Yeah, there's something.
Michigan is.
Yeah,
He
You
did.
can't open carry in Michigan.
From what I saw, it was he did not have a certain type of license.
He probably doesn't have a
the
concealed.
concealed
yeah.
carry.
Like,
Yes.
even I have a concealed carry, and I still have to be careful when I go into Michigan. Just because of Michigan.
Michigan
laws.
is
Seems
sus.
dumb to me.
Michigan is sus. Big Gretch.
Anti 2A.
It is. Go Ohio.
I can't have a gun in my car that I own.
Unless you tell everybody
Un-American.
about it.
Un-American. I gotta tell everyone. Yeah.
Not to get political tonight.
It happens all the time, and I still think it's weird. Like,
Well, look
you're
at
allowed to own the gun,
look at where
but
those
it can't be in your
happen.
car
Like,
for some reason.
it's in
which
states
is
like
your own property.
which player? Like, it's New York players.
Wow.
You have Michigan players. Like, it's California. It's a lot of those states where they're not open carry states where they
What
get
if he was just on his way to go hunting, man? With the Glock.
Yeah, how does that work? How happens if you get pulled over? You're on hunting.
You're screwed.
Just jail.
Straight to jail. Don't pass go, don't collect $200.
No, I just think it's dumb. Like, at first I was like, I would always think like, yeah, what are you doing, man? Why are you getting caught with a gun in your car? And now I'm like, well, why can't you? It's legal to own. You're in
Like
your
you
own
said,
property.
It depends on the
2A.
state.
You're not walking around flashing it around and doing stuff, but
Shooting people with it.
whatever.
Speaking of things that are dumb,
Suspect by the police
Speaking
to
of-
let him off.
things that are dumb. since we're moving on. The Saints, no idea what the hell they're doing, ever. They had a 2-game win streak. Like, they started off the year hot. It's like, oh my gosh, the offense.
They won the Super Bowl week 2.
They did. Week 1 was their NFC Championship. Week 2 was their Super Bowl, and since then they haven't shown up.
At least they're figuring out that Rattler ain't it. You know, that's positive. And Jake Haener might be all right.
They referred to Derek Carr as their franchise quarterback, and I laughed.
You know, the Jets had to decide between Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr.
And they somehow made the wrong decision.
Did they?
Think about that.
I don't know if they did.
That either of them would have qualified as a
They were both terrible.
right decision.
I think they both kind of suck.
Yo, Drew, wait a minute. What'd you say? Say it again.
Hold up.
Said either of them wouldn't have been the right decision.
Oh, I thought you said that. No, I'm pretty sure it was the right decision.
I think you're making up stuff. Maybe.
The CTE, man.
No, that's what I heard. Thought
Yeah, I mean, Saints is another team that we probably don't have to talk about,
No.
like, ever.
I mean,
to be
Joe,
honest. Chargers get a
Can
win.
Olave stop getting hit sticked?
Impossible.
Bro gets lit up every week.
Lad
When's he gonna
McConkey
hit
go
the-
crazy, though.
When's he gonna hit the weight room? That's all he's
Never.
just got to put on 20 pounds. That's it.
That
Brain
could be a
damage.
lot. That could be a lot of poundage.
Not in college.
he's not in
Well,
college.
good
man.
thing he ain't in college.
You and I both put it on.
Lad McConkey played
going
pretty
away.
good.
Lad McConkey is a dog.
Yes, he is.
How come that Saints defensive tackle tried to hurt Herbert like that?
I don't know,
Saints
but
are
I'm
dirty
glad the
players.
O-lineman lit him up. I'm
Saints
glad
gate.
the O-lineman lit him up.
Saints
That's
gate.
football
Did.
justice. That should not have been a penalty. Should not have been a penalty. Ref doesn't have feel for the game.
Saints gate.
The Saints
It's been
are dirty.
known.
Always happen.
You can't take the
Yeah,
Saints out of
go
the
back to-
Saints,
you-
but you
you
can
can go
take the
all the-
Saints out of the Saints.
You can go all the way back to 2009.
Something like that.
Okay, what
All
happens
right,
in
yo.
2009?
That was when they were murking
We
people.
went
Oh,
back to
oh,
2009 and we just stayed there.
No, I get
Take me
okay.
back.
Brett
Take
Favre
me
got
back.
Brett Favre got killed in the NFC Championship game because of Bonnygate.
Take me
Players got paid more for hurting him on purpose.
Take me back.
Thought you knew ball. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let's stay in the NFC South.
I was just hoping you'd follow up.
No, oh wait a
Lead
minute.
us,
That's
lead us to the promised
wait.
land.
Okay, no,
Zero
hold on.
context. Yo, that's a nice Bass Pro shirt.
Hey.
So I ain't gonna lie.
Thank you.
No, he definitely forgot about it because we beat the Cowboys 34-3. That
It was
postseason.
2009, man. I don't know. If I
Don't
was
matter.
following.
I had to drop it in there. That's all that matters. All right,
They came
next
back in
game.
2009.
Gil, where are we going?
We're going to Tampa Bay. 31-26. Falcons get
Oh,
the
yeah.
dub over the Buccaneers. Kirk O'Chain's really starting to get involved with that Atlanta crowd. He really seems to be fitting in. 4 tutties for him.
Walk in your trap, take over your trap. Kirk O'Chain's original.
And even though Kyle Pitts tried to sell, he still scored 2 touchdowns in this.
He did. How is that a problem? Like, why can't you just run through the end zone?
So he didn't drop it like you see college people do. It got hit out
Yeah,
by Winfield. But like his effort, he gave up running
Yep.
to the end zone.
If he doesn't give up running,
Before
we're
he
not
should
talking
have.
about this.
Yeah, because he was open. Like he could have walked in, but the problem was he actually walked in and got caught up to. And that was definitely a fumble. And I can't believe
Yeah.
they didn't overturn it.
I don't know why we don't got pylon cams or like goal line camera. I don't know how in 2024 we don't know. We can't tell when the ball has crossed the goal line. I feel like that's a pretty important thing to be able to know. And we don't know what a catch is still, which we may never know. So
That's gotten better.
Well, it's not 1 foot touching twice.
why
know
not?
that.
Why can't 2 feet equal 2 foots? two.
It's 2 foot
caps.
equals 2 feet.
Yeah, two.
Same foot
2
twice.
foot. 2 singular foot does not equal 2 plural feet. I don't know.
Yes.
If I catch the ball and hop on 1 foot 15 times, then I go out of bounds. That ain't a catch. That's crazy.
So there can never be a one-legged NFL wide receiver.
No, they'd be cooked. They'd be cooked.
That's discrimination.
Also, what if you catch the ball in the middle of the field and then the defense just like carries you to the sideline and drops you? Is that not a catch?
No.
That's crazy.
No, so it's 1 foot twice is 0. It's 2 feet equals a catch, and then there's an elbow that
One
equals
elbow
a
Equals
catch.
2 feet.
One
An
a
elbow,
knee.
a butt cheek, and a knee all equal 2 feet. But why doesn't 2 foot equal 2 feet?
that's
I
going
don't
to
know.
get changed in the offseason.
They
I
hate
don't think so.
hopscotch, maybe?
It's probably the first time that's like ever happened. Honestly,
Like NFL officiating was like, what the hell just happened? Do we have a rule book or do we have
Look
a rule
at
for
George
that?
Pickens. He's going to make a new rule.
His
George
shiesty
Pickens.
squeezed all the blood out of his brain. That's why he can't freaking do anything right.
we're not on that game yet. Keep going.
Well,
I feel bad.
Sorry, I jumped
I
ahead.
feel bad for Baker. I'm not going to lie. Him losing both Mike
Yeah.
Evans and Chris Godwin last week. And
I don't feel bad. He's making millions of dollars, to be honest.
his own coach did that to him. They didn't need to be playing last week.
Well, okay, so there is a take on that to where they were like in a one possession game at the time, so like it was okay that he was on the field. Or if they score there, it becomes a one possession game. It was definitely like, and they had like just scored and got the ball back and were about to score again. So there was something about, you can blame the coach, but players are going to play if they're within scoring distance. It's not like they were losing by 40. It's just unfortunate. You can never plan around injuries and play scared like that.
no, you can't. Speaking of scared, I think
But I don't feel bad.
I think the Seahawks were pretty scared of the Bills coming into town. 31-10 win over for the Buffalo Bills as they just rolled over Seattle.
I'd like to apologize for the Bills.
In the rain.
I'd like to
In the
apologize.
rain.
Seahawks
Frick
center
you,
rolled over
Amari.
rolled
Frick
over the
you, buddy.
Seahawks.
Why are you
That's
mad
all
at
I'm gonna
Amari?
say.
Oh, he
Really
did
much?
screw you. He screwed
Yeah,
you.
he did. What was it like?
One catch, 3
1.8?
yards. One catch,
Yeah,
3
or no,
yards.
He
point
gave
to-
Josh his first interception.
Hey, shout out Steelers though. You almost got me.
Almost.
You almost helped me so much, dude.
Almost.
Thank you.
We're almost to that game. I'll talk all about it. But yeah, Bills are good. Scary.
Yep, I think that's all that needs to be said.
Josh Allen had a good game. I'm
Other than when
scared.
he kicked the freaking football, the fumble, and they recover it to get a first down.
Yeah, that should have been a penalty.
As soon as something like that happens, like just end the game. They were winning as soon as that happened. No matter what the score was at the time, like it was
That's-
over.
100% a penalty.
James
I don't
James
think it
Cook
is.
is James Cook is nice.
Kicking the ball?
He did
They
it on
would
accident.
definitely-
though.
If
the
you
ball
fumble it-
gets kicked quite a lot in the game, actually. So
If you do it on purpose, it's a penalty. But if you do it on accident,
not
you
if
just make
it's
it
a
look
field
like an
goal.
accident. You're fine.
Not if it's a field goal.
Yeah.
Ben still works.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just like bend
That's
down
good.
and just give it a whack, as if you were trying to pick it up, but you whacked it. Anyway,
All right. Speaking of
Bills are
speaking
nice.
of whacking it, the Commanders
Phoenix, shut up.
get a 18-15 victory over the Bears after that bum-ass defensive back for the Bears whacked it out of the air into Noah Brown's hands.
oh, I was waiting for the tie.
Yeah. They deserve to lose that game, which I think you guys said in the chat.
I said that. I said this. They
The
deserve to
land over-
lose.
The land
You got-
land
you
over
got-
miracle.
You got
You
two
said it right
capable
before
running
the play.
backs. You got two capable running backs, DeAndre Swift, and even more capable on the goal line like that, Roshan Johnson, and you give it to your backup center playing fullback on a dive. Like
He's not William
like
Perry.
you're not the 72 Bears or whatever that year was. The 85 Bears, whenever they gave it to
85.
the fridge. You're not like that.
They just-
So
yeah.
just give it to your running back like a normal person.
I like everybody that thought the game was over, like seeing the clips of like, oh, we're good, game's won, and then that play happened.
Eberflus saying the 15-yard play wasn't important right before the Hail Mary that got them in range.
Yeah, I'd say the
Pretty-
15-yard play is pretty important.
I'm pretty sure
I'd-
the Bears
I'd say-
posted a picture.
I'd say
they
throwing
won.
80 yards is a lot harder than throwing 65 yards
I'd say
for
so.
an NFL quarterback. So
Or what was a pretty boring game. It had an exciting finish, though. Like this was the Fox
it did.
game of the week.
Unfortunately, I missed it because I was on the Red Zone channel and I didn't switch over fast enough, and I missed it happen live. Sad.
I watched it. I I audibly made noise when it happened.
What kind of noise? Can you
Pretty
demonstrate?
sure.
Can you
I listened
recreate
to
that?
it.
Can you recreate
Can't.
it?
Please?
Forgot. It was all natural.
Oh my god!
Probably
Here it
not.
is.
Nah. It
That
was
was
more just
fine.
it was more of
There
a
you go.
gasp.
Like how me and Gil both gasped at the same time. Yeah, Commanders. I'm a little less scared playing the Commanders. The Steelers play the Commanders after the bye week. I'm a little less
I
scared.
think it's going to be a good game,
Now
but you
that
should
they've-
be able to win.
they've
Bears
come down to
defense is
earth a little bit.
underrated. Let's keep that in mind.
No, I think the Bears defense is perfectly rated. It's a good defense. That's why they were 4-2 coming into this game. I think the Bears have a
I know,
great
but
defense.
they also do not get talked about ever.
It was because the Bears have a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, he's going to get talked about more.
That's just going to
But
generate.
no, their defense is nice. They had all the money and they spent it on the defense. Really, a lot of it.
Dead trades for Montez Sweat.
They
So-
really changed their defense last
All right,
year.
where are we going, Gil?
Broncos Panthers. There was a game. It was played.
Yep.
Broncos won 28-14.
Skip. It was
Get
played
outta
on
here.
Sunday. Next.
Bo Nix, congratulations, but subpar defense.
That's all I had to say. It was a game that was played.
Shit.
Chiefs Raiders.
Where are we going?
27-20 Chiefs squeak by the Raiders.
So close, Cade.
Cade.
So close.
Brock
Cade?
Bowers
yeah.
is having a really good year so far.
The Chiefs might be more overrated than the Texans,
think
but
so.
they're actually not because they're undefeated, so it doesn't matter.
And they're 2-time defending champs. Other than that, yeah, they might be overrated.
Other than that, they're not that good, but they're undefeated.
It's like Georgia last
Other than
year.
being on the verge of three-peating, yeah, they're not that good.
yeah.
It's like Georgia last year where everybody knew they weren't as good as the previous two championship teams, but they just kept winning.
Yeah.
That's
Dylan
really
doesn't care about that anymore.
That's in the past for me. I still get to claim
Brock
those two
Bowers is the only tight
championships,
end
though.
that didn't go crazy on tight ends day. What's up with that?
Tough.
I mean, he had 5 catches, 58
He
yards.
just-
I mean, that's 10.8
He just had a
fantasy
normal
points.
game.
Yeah.
He just
didn't
didn't
go crazy.
score. He just didn't score.
Yeah,
If
I
he
needed him to go
scores-
crazy.
If he scores, they probably win. Travis Kelce, his
Maybe.
best game of the year, also happened to be on tight ends day. That was a fantastic day, by the way, for tight ends. I didn't even think to mention that.
Convenient.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, very convenient. You know what? Yeah,
Shut
convenient.
up.
Frick you, Jared. Frick you.
Kareem Hunt
dang.
continues to
Jared,
impress
Catching a
and
stray.
prove that running backs are fungible because he came in off the street.
is he impressing? Is he impressing, or is he just a rocket?
He's scoring every week.
He averaged 2.8 yards
Yep.
a carry, Gil. Don't hit me with that. Don't hit me with that homer stuff.
I'm going to hit you with that homer shit.
I don't want. I don't want to hear it. He's mid. He's below mid, actually.
3.5 yards last week, 2 touchdowns,
He's impressive for being old and
3.8
unemployed before this.
3.8 yards per carry and a touchdown on October 7th. I mean, he's averaging 3.7 yards per carry this season, has 4 touchdowns, 308 total yards in 4 games. I don't think that's bad for where he was just 5 weeks ago.
That's fine. I don't want to prop this man up and then start building a statue outside the stadium. That's all.
I think I'm going to.
Yeah, we know.
I would. Great game.
Yep. All right.
Build outside the glass bowl.
He'd be one of the players I'd build a
Probably
statue
should.
for outside the glass bowl. Be him.
As long as it doesn't look like Dwayne Wade. Which didn't look like
Dwayne Wade. It
actually.
didn't even look like Dwayne Wade.
I don't know who that dude was. Dwayne Wade didn't know who that dude was. He said, "Who is that?"
All right.
Anyway,
We've got 2 games left. They're the 2 last remaining Party Chat Sports games of Week 8. Drew, Cowboys fall 30-24 against the 49ers. And it looked like they were going to possibly make the comeback, or maybe that was just, fourth quarter
No, it's
back
fake.
stat.
I
or pass.
have one thing to say before you go on it, Drew.
Okay.
Courtney had mentioned that she wanted to do an episode with you to rant about Dak because Dak's been her fantasy quarterback all year, and she's pissed. She's very unhappy.
That's fair. That's
So
fair.
she wanted to do
What did
a
he
rant.
end with, though? He
Yeah.
had 2 touchdowns, so... it wasn't that
Well,
bad.
it still wasn't
I
the
would have picked
greatest
someone
game.
up, dude. Like, I don't...
Yeah, I'm
We're a
gonna
lot
have
of
her get
weeks
Sam
in.
Stafford.
Darnold.
Just drop
I'm gonna have her get
Pick up
Stafford.
Sam.
I'm gonna have her
Pick
get
up Fanny
Stafford.
D.
No, Stafford. She's got the Puka stack. She'll be fine.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
It's a good idea.
Yeah, the game was bad. A lot of things were bad. Hold on, there's one thing I needed to verify before I get into this, but the defense held them to 6. For the first half, we were winning for most of the game, like half the game. So that was surprising. Although the Niners are now 500, so I guess it shouldn't have been surprising. But the offense, and specifically Dak, just forgot how to play.
Did they ever know how to play?
No.
that
So
is okay.
what's funny is it felt like the defense did better. I think if you looked at the first half of the game, you would think they did better. It was 10-6. You lose by 6, although the comeback is fake, and I'll keep saying it was fake. Although you think they did better, guess how many rushing yards they let up? Take a guess right now. Don't look it up. I'm looking at you, Gil. Don't
120.
look. Guess.
120.
100.
Guess, Gil.
I
They let
looked
up
as you were saying.
223 rushing yards.
Oh my
Oh my
god!
goodness.
I just looked, bro.
So,
Bro,
if
you let
that's the
Brock
defense
Purdy
being
turn into
better.
Mike
Congrats.
Vick. You let Brock Purdy turn into
Brock
Mike
Purdy
Vick.
had as many rushing yards on his own as we did as a team.
Wow.
A lot of things going wrong. So
Not good for you, Purdy haters.
you got the
Let's-
ghost.
Well,
the
that
no,
doesn't
Purdy
turn
played bad.
Purdy
It
into
does.
it. It doesn't.
Purdy played against
It
the
helps.
practice squad defense and did not look very good for most of it. So we'll just skip over that. But anyways, the Cowboys, a lot of things going wrong. Nope. I don't know what you're making that noise for.
I mean, he didn't look bad. I think he.
Practice squad defense, brother. Like literal practice
It does
squad
not
players on the
matter.
field. It does matter.
It actually matters a lot.
Anyways, Cowboys were bad. Running backs, just the ghost of frickin' 2018.
Everybody. The ghost of everybody.
We got, bro, we're throwing
I
deep
just-
bombs at Cavante Turpin, bro. It's over. It's so over.
Hey,
That was our best shot. Was a deep bomb to Cavante Turpin, bro.
hey.
We got the
CD
kick
went
returner
crazy.
out there with the
CD
game
went
on the
crazy.
line.
All
They
right,
forgot how to cover CD for some random reason because they thought Dak couldn't throw it to our own team. So they were like, "Yeah, let's just leave him open."
That was almost basically accurate.
Yeah. So I mean,
Man,
a lot of things went wrong. And
In a
the
league
problem
with
is,
fungible running backs, I don't know how you don't find one.
they're not that fungible. They're not like they're pretty fungible, but like you gotta have someone.
Still gotta have a
Oh,
good
like-
body back there.
The 49ers just played Isaac Garando, and he averaged 6 a carry, man.
Yeah, but as long as they're young, they're fine.
Oh, yeah,
You can't have Grandpa Zeke
Turns
and
to a
Grandpa
Michigan
Dalvin
fan
Cook
and hates
back there.
Zeke not all of a sudden. Okay.
I don't hate Zeke. I love Zeke, but he's washed. It's over.
Hey, he lost weight this year.
There's no
Stop
juice.
shitting on your on your running
That
back.
Good.
running back room is so negative
There,
juice.
dude.
All right, Toledo
the-
fan, I want to hear nothing
the
from you.
Cowboys
saying, it's not
fandom
good.
is so down bad. There's a strange little faction war going on between Zeke truthers and like Rico Dowdle truthers. And
It's a
the
bad-
Zeke truthers are claiming victory because Zeke had 10 carries for 34 yards and a touchdown.
Hey,
They
3
say,
yards.
they say we're all the Zeke haters at all of a sudden. They got quiet. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about?
Hey,
I
how
swear,
dare you.
dude, there's a different dimension that half the Cowboys fandom, they're in a different dimension. They're watching an alternate game or football just played differently where they're from.
You can be a fan of Ohio State.
It's bad.
And still admit
3
that Zeke is
3
not
yards in a
good
cloud of
anymore.
dust, man. 3 yards
Heck
in a
yeah,
cloud
dude.
of dust.
It's all
They
dust,
want the
yeah.
90s
It's not
back.
even a cloud. It's all dust.
If we just run it, if we run it every play, it's going to take us fourth down every time. But we're going to get it. We're going to get it. So yeah, apparently Zeke's back because he averaged 3.4 yards a carry, and on
More than Kareem
whatever.
Hunt. More than Kareem Hunt. to be fair.
So that was bad. Obviously, we already talked about the receivers are bad except for CD. Defense bad. Yeah, there's some trash in this game though with the little pick play for the captain and creator of tight ends day. He gets his flags picked up so he
Your
can score
safety's
on
an idiot.
on
That's
tight
what it
ends day.
is.
Cam, that is a penalty in every single game ever, and it will continue to be.
Safety is an idiot. Don't run right into him.
And you're outing
Have
yourself.
some
You're outing
awareness,
yourself.
Even Chris-
You're outing yourself. You're outing yourself.
Even Chris Collingsworth is
You're outing yourself.
Hold on. You have 50 awareness on the field to not
You're
know that
outing
there's a guy
yourself
running
as
right
a
at your
non-ball
face.
knower. You're outing yourself as a non-ball knower. Please be quiet.
Knows
be
the
quiet.
fact that somebody's running right at your face.
That's not how it works.
Stop.
That's not how it works, and that's not how it ever works.
Stop.
Please make this man be quiet.
You avoid it.
First
You
of my
avoid it.
eardrums.
You're
You
outing
draw the
yourself.
penalty. You avoid it. You draw the penalty.
That's not how it works.
That's
It wouldn't
how
be a penalty
works.
if you avoided it.
It wouldn't be a play if it didn't work.
You outed yourself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that had to happen to you.
Even
Learn how to draw the penalty on the pick play.
even Chris
He
Collingsworth.
did.
That's how it works.
Two flags were thrown. He did actually. They picked him up.
If you end up like completely out of the play and your receiver is wide open, that is what quantitates.
Don't run into the slant. That's all it is.
But
The slant ran into him. That's the whole point of the play. That's what they were trying to do. Goodness gracious. That's literally the play call. The receiver just has to look like he's not doing it on
Watch
purpose.
the play. Watch
did.
the play.
This guy's outing himself. He's outing himself. He doesn't know anything. Look at this guy down here. He does. I don't know where he's at.
What
Over
guy?
here.
It's a
This
C.
guy
It's
doesn't
a
know
C.
anything.
It's a black screen.
This guy.
what was the other play we were arguing about?
There's ways
Anyways.
to avoid it, and there's ways
And we were
to
Okay.
convinced.
get it drawn.
It's a penalty either way. I don't care.
It's like targeting.
Let me
It's
just
the
talk
same
about
thing.
it. Let me just talk about it, please.
That was what we were talking about.
It's nothing like targeting.
That's what we were talking about. Cam wants
Anyways.
AI refs so that his targeting play won't be called.
The AI refs would call that
It
a
was
penalty
proven
every
wrong.
time.
It was proven wrong. That's all I'm saying about it.
By literally nobody.
By literally the Big Ten
The Big Ten did say
commissioner
that
and
he can play this week after deciding that it wasn't a penalty after the fact.
Interesting.
thank you.
Anyways, let's
They can't
Like
have
that.
their best team lose. They can't have
Let's
their best
stick-
team lose.
Can I
The
continue?
Cowboys-
It's not their
game.
best team. It's Oregon.
Thank you. So yeah, that was tragic. Like if let's just say that's not a penalty, if that is a legal play, then you can go ahead and kiss red zone defense goodbye because that will work every time.
That's what Chris Collingsworth said was, if that's going to work, then
yeah,
just do that every
George
time.
Pickens has lost 2 touchdowns this year because of a pick.
Have a different formation.
What does that mean?
You're outing yourself, man. This is real. This is a sad
No,
moment.
it's
This is
just
really
ball.
sad.
It's ball. It's
not ball.
if
is
you
really
think a team is
tragic.
going to pick play you, don't
It's the
be
CTE from that JV.
in whatever you wear.
It's acting up.
It's just
flaring.
ball. It's
flaring
really
right
what
now.
it is.
Yeah, just avoid. If you avoid
also-
the pick and you don't actually get picked, then how is it a pick?
You put more people on that side. Actually,
Drew, continue.
Next part. Purdy on the QB sneak was short of the goal line. I think pretty clearly on video replay, and they did not. They didn't even bother overturning it, which is fine. Like it's not like it would have changed anything, but it was just weird to see. Like it felt like the camera angle was pretty clearly obvious that he was down, and they didn't even like take a second to like look. They moved on pretty quickly, and we're like,
They just
yeah, you
said,
did,
no,
whatever.
you just said you're good. Cowboys ain't winning this game. Let's go home.
Yeah. So, as I said before the game, the NFL did not expect both these teams to have a combined 6 wins going into the game. So, pretty disappointing for both teams. More disappointing for the Cowboys. Cowboys do a fake comeback, so Jerry thinks the team's actually not god awful. He's going to say that Micah coming back and Bland coming back are basically like trading for players, and those are our mid-season acquisitions.
That's his favorite thing to say.
Yeah, so glad we're acquiring Micah Parsons and Deron Bland, and maybe DeMarcus Lawrence, or if he come back. So it's just over. I mean, the season's over. It would have been easier if Jerry Jones had just said this was like a little soft rebuild, which is what it is. He's just so afraid to lose season ticket holders, like you mentioned earlier, Gil, and jersey sales and things like that, that he doesn't want to say anything like along those lines of a rebuild. So essentially, he's just a fraud. Always has been, always will be. The Cowboys will always be fraudulent as long as he's in charge. So, and his son will be worse. So, at least things are looking bright.
All right.
I don't have anything to add.
Dylan, before you go, I'm at 2%. Thank you, Steelers, for almost helping me.
We
Dallas
tried our
sucks.
best.
Jet sucks. Good night.
Good night, Cam.
Charge your phone.
Deuces.
Sleep
Upload
well.
your recording.
Wait,
Yeah, please
you went
upload
to
the recording.
27% in like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It's time to upgrade the phone, man.
yeah.
It's got like an iPhone 7.
Speaking of upgrades, Russell Wilson. Who knew?
Is he?
It's crazy.
Is he really?
I don't know. No. So yeah, Steelers Giants. Steelers get a win, 6-2. Number 1 in the division, number 3 seed in the AFC, back where they belong, at the top of the AFC in that conversation.
Something like that.
Russ had this game lost though until TJ Watt saved him. So I do continue to watch Russ get saved on underthrows. That has me worried for the game in which he does not get saved on underthrows.
Yes.
I want to see this against
is
not
not replicable, like
No.
repeatable.
No, but it's only repeatable against New York. But this is the whole city.
Russ is just
I
a
want to
New
see
York
it
version.
against. Yeah, I want to see it
Russ
against
is bombing
Wash.
New York, bro.
He was.
Call that dude Al Qaeda.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, he was dropping dimes. The one play to Pickens, though, that was a beauty. That was a laser of a throw. But yeah, I just want to see this repeated against not the Jets in prime time in the Steelers' house, and we'll talk about it. Going to go on the road to the Commanders. That's a game that's going to be a test. Then you got Baltimore, and then the Browns, and then the Bengals, and the Browns again. So it's the thick of it. We need Fields back healthy so that he can be a part of a red zone package. They had said this week that they wanted to use Fields they wanted to officially roll out their 2 QB system by putting Fields in the red zone, and he tweaks a hammy, and so he doesn't play last night, unfortunately. But it couldn't be more obvious that they need some help in the red zone. I mean, Russ does great to get him there. So far, he has at least. And then they get into the red zone. It's just not creative enough, and too many things that Russ can't escape. You know, they did have a touchdown called back from a face mask on Broderick Jones, who might be the worst right tackle in football. But he's our future left tackle, so I guess that's an important distinction. But yeah, and then when the pocket collapses, he's got no juice. He can roll out still and do some things, but he tries to scramble and he just gets trucked and fumbles. So don't want to see him doing that anymore. I want to see Fields in the red zone because he was leading the league in quarterback rushing touchdowns. So I think that's a weapon you can use. But yeah, I mean, 6-2. I think if you'd asked me before the season if going into the bye they were 6-2 and first place in the AFC North, I think I would have been really happy to hear that, regardless of what has gotten us here. Even though like literally like 8-0 is like so close, like one snap off a face mask in Indianapolis, a 1 4th down stop away with Dallas in town, and you're 8-0. That's kind of crazy. But you're 6-2, and that's the reality of it. So, but the important games are coming up. Haven't played a single division game yet, so that's got me a little hesitant to claim glory, I guess is a way to put it. But I can't complain. Najee looked as great as he ever has in a Steelers uniform. 3 straight games of 100 yards rushing. His first ever time doing that. So that's pretty cool. And apparently he lost 10 pounds and got a little bit faster this year. I don't know if I buy that, but maybe.
Need the radar gun.
I'd like to
I'm not
see.
believing it.
I know they got next gen stats
Absolutely.
on his top speed. I know they got it, and they're just withholding that information.
Absolutely.
He's an 18 and a half.
17 maybe. I mean, it can't be a lot, but he runs hard. Zaire Franklin was incorrect when he said that 84 run harder. I think that's all I got. The Giants are bad. Daniel Jones didn't look horrible in this game, to be honest. He was under a lot of pressure.
That last interception
Giants
was
had
bad,
a good.
though.
That was bad. That was a very bad throw. That could have been picked off by 2 Steelers players. That was horrible. But I mean, they had some just tough calls like that erased some stuff off the board. But he didn't look awful. He's still not $40 million future.
Aikman was pretty mad about that, illegal formation or illegal shift or whatever it was.
Aikman was losing his mind because he's a Steelers hater. He just hates the Steelers, and he was losing his marbles.
The Steelers in the Super Bowl, so
He did. So his hate can be rightfully placed. That's totally fine. But he's letting it rot in his heart still all these years later. I don't know, man.
it's all right. I like it.
Of course you do. But yeah, they had a good game plan. Lots of screens and halfback draws that worked against the pass rush that was just getting upfield like off rip. Tyrone Tracy's kind of nice.
You can't
He's not
say they had a
Saquon.
good game plan with a lot of screens.
But it worked. Like in this game, there were so many successful screens from the Steelers and the Giants. It's gonna this game alone just ruined offensive football for the rest of the year. So that sucks. But
Gross. Absolutely gross.
Darnell Washington kind of nice.
Tyrone Tracy is nice.
Oh, Calvin Austin's nice. Calvin Austin's got juice. That
They had
dude can fly.
Absolute fleecing in one of my fantasy leagues. Let me see what it was.
Remember when you guys, or Drew, I think you in particular, were pretty upset when the Steelers drafted Calvin Austin because you wanted him? Or the Cowboys? Yeah.
I don't
You
remember
guys were mad. You
wanting
guys were
Calvin
mad
Austin.
because he ran like a 4.3.
I wanted Darnell Washington. I was more mad that you got a 4-3 player than it was that I did not.
That's
get
fair.
that
That's
4-3
fair.
player.
It's usually how it goes.
And he's showing it. He had a broken foot, and he is still speedy quick. And he's like a good route runner too. He's not just
He's
a
really
gadget kick
developing
return
well.
guy. He's a nice player. So I'm happy with him. Even though he's only 5'7".
The trade that went down was Devin Singletary, Tyler Lockett, the Bears defense for A.J. Brown.
Did you get A.J. Brown in this scenario?
I didn't. No, I did not get anything. This is two other people in the league.
Whoever got AJ Brown.
So effectively, he got the ghost Tyler Lockett, the Bears or the Giants' backup running back, a defense who, sure, they're a good defense, but it's fantasy. It doesn't really matter. For one of the best wide receivers.
That's crazy
in the game.
That is wild.
That's crazy.
And one of the things that was brought up was like Tracy is the starter. Like Tracy's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, no, it's gonna be Singletary. It's Tracy, man.
Bro.
How long ago did this trade happen?
This week.
That's nuts.
Before the games this week.
Tracy just had a 100-yard game.
That should have been
He just had a 100-yard game.
That trade should have been vetoed.
Yeah, Tracy.
You said that's
Tracy
also a dynasty league?
No, I misspoke. It's just redraft. But yeah, Tracy had a huge run, and I just put the eye emoji in the chat. Oh, I think Aikman or one of them, or maybe it was Buck, like called Tracy like the guy.
Yeah, they did
during the game.
They did. Yes,
and I set the eyes emoji in the chat. It's like, dude,
they're like they found their guy in Tyrone.
And the guy that traded away AJ Brown is new to fantasy. I don't know that he's ever played before. So
I had Tyrone Tracy in our dynasty. I feel like at one point.
No, I did. I just traded him away.
That's tough.
My trade worked out though because I traded away Ayuk and he immediately tore his ACL and I got a first round pick. So
how many dynasties are you in?
One.
Did you trade Ayuk?
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, I traded Ayuk and Tracy for a first round pick.
I don't remember seeing that.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Snuck
nice.
that one right in there.
You just added Tyrone Tracy in free agency. Look at you go. It's all right.
I drafted him, I think.
It
Or
said
did
you
I
added
add
him in free agency.
Oh.
I drafted Bucky
Fleeced.
Irvin. Just had a stab in the dark in the third round, so that's nice. Anyway, I think we've rambled. It's an hour
I
and a half.
wanted the Cowboys to draft Tracy, but the Cowboys can't do anything right. So,
But that's okay, because tanking for Genty.
thank you for Genty. In Dynasty and in real life.
Yankees up 6-4, top of the 7th right now.
Good for them.
Maybe they won't get swept.
Can't have a sweep in the World Series.
No.
Can't have it. It's bad
That's
for
what I said.
baseball.
Well, they're in New
Bad
York.
for the game.
They're in New York too.
They were in New York last night. Got almost shut out.
I'm just saying. Like,
Although
yeah,
I will
it's
say
not
baseball is definitely not rigged because the Diamondbacks beat the Yankees in 2001. So, if it was rigged, the Yankees win.
Yeah. I mean, baseball is not rigged, but people cheat like the Astros, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And the commissioner is just okay with that.
Yeah.
It's not rigged. People
Foreign
are just stupid.
substances and such. Foreign substances are a real thing, and every team uses them. I can promise you that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. That was week 8. I had something in the back of my throat. That was week 8 of the NFL season. We are, like we said at the top, we are about halfway through the regular season of 2024.
It's tragic.
Really tragic.
That sucks.
Let's see what this.
Actually, it's not tragic because my team sucks. So,
Yeah, actually, I'm kind
Fire
of on
up
board
mock
with that.
drafts, baby.
I've-
When's our first mock draft vid coming out? Who's going to break and
I
make
don't
one?
know, shortly.
I feel like I broke earlier. I punched a freaking fan.
You did break because we asked you to be positive, and that was just too much for you to handle.
It's a tall order.
Really, a tall order for a short guy. But that is going to be our Week 8 recap. We'll see what the second half of the NFL season brings us. Kicks off Thursday Night Football. Make sure you don't tune in. Spend the time with your family for Halloween because nobody wants to watch Texans and Jets. Until next time, hope everyone enjoys. Make sure you continue to follow us on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, on TikTok, all at Party Chat Sports. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody you know that likes listening and consuming football, specifically football content. But hope everyone has a great week 9, unless your teams are playing ours. Peace.
Goodbye.
Fire Jerry Jones.